Like in many of the projects that we do, we're in occupied house. So my clients unfortunately cannot move everything out, or you may not be able to move everything out of your house. But I'm going to give you some suggestions. The first one is that you need to work in sections. Pick the first line, obviously try to go against the joists of your house, the supports of your house, so you have a better, stronger, a durable floor. And this is structurally sound. I mean, if you actually cross the lines or the fibers of your wood, it's going to give you a better resistance. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take all this carpet out by sections. We're going to move the furniture as much as possible, but we're going to take it in sections until we'll be able to get to the other side. Obviously, once we finish one side, rip all this stuff out, we're going to put some asphalt paper, and that will help us to avoid moisture on your hardwood floors. And also, it's going to give a little bit of acoustics. So that's pretty much what we're going to do right now, okay? Now, next, we took the section of the carpet out, is to start doing some clearance on your casing, your door casings, moldings around and stuff like that. So for that, I'm going to teach you something. I want you to come and take a look at what I'm going to do. See, we have the asphalt paper that we're going to use as our moisture barrier, or cushion, or padding, or whatever. And that has also one thickness, and then this is the wood, beautiful piece of wood that we're going to use, maple. Beautiful and well stained. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around, and we're going to place it right next to it. And with an orbital or jam saw or whatever you have, this is an orbital saw, oscillating saw, I'm sorry. And we're going to cut the edge of the casing in this case. Okay, so let me show you how I do it. You go all around the areas where you're going to work, and later on with a screwdriver or a wood chisel, you remove the section that you don't need anymore, right? So this is what happens at the end. You have now your thicknesses, and your wood will be sliding properly underneath it, really well made and professionally looked like, okay? Now, we have the first row of asphalt paper. Here's the important thing. You want to staple this because this is going to be, in this long run, it's going to be your guide. So I'm going to use this thing called a chalk line. It's made of, a twine with chalk. So you will kind of spring this thing on it, and it will give you a nice straight line. Why is it important? Because when you're standing on your first boards, you want to make sure that you see a nice straight line throughout your property. Not just that, but if in that level, you have different rooms. At one point, they may meet back again. And if you have a twisted line, maybe they're not going to match up later on. So you got to be really careful in the way you start doing all these projects. So for that purpose, again, I step all this down, unroll it, but little things. We're going to make some marks with the width of the board that you're going to use, the hardwood floor that you're going to use. Then, therefore, you can actually start a straight line and move on further, okay? I truly believe that you can actually do this the way I'm doing it, or at least better than at least learn something from me and do it better, I'm sorry. But here's what happened. I want to have this full piece at the entrance of the property. I always like to have these nice impressions when you come in, to have a nice piece on the floor coming. But here's the problem, that sometimes the houses are not straight completely, and that's what we just find out by marking that line with a chalk line. We have some deviation. In other words, the property or the line makes the structure look like it's kind of curved. For that purpose, I measure, and I outside with a table saw, I actually cut these boards intentionally, so when we get to this side of the property, or this side of the line, I'm sorry, we know that we're going to be just right on the line that we were looking for. So that's pretty much what I did. I want to make sure that whatever my mark was from the beginning is a mark that goes all the way through. So that's how we're going to start. Now remember something very important. the wood is going to anyway contract and expand according with the temperature. For that, you need to leave a little bit of a space on the sides of the rooms and actually from the walls, so they don't actually push. See, the problem is that if you don't do that, sometime really soon, what's going to happen is that these boards are going to lift up, and you're going to hear this weird, noise or whatever. Is going to be really uncomfortable. So you want to leave a little bit of a space for the expansion. Now, one last tip before I continue, start doing all this project. Your floor, your hardwood floor has to be in your property with the temperature for at least 8 days. That will give the wood the temperature that normally is going to be submitted to. So it's really important to have it over there. I know that sometimes you want to kind of rush or whatever, but that's the case. Sometimes you need to do that in order to have a nice finished project. Okay? Thank you. 2/3 of our lines already set. Since we're working in a house that is occupied, we need to make sure that we have some spaces that we can clear and move stuff back and forth. So I'm going to give you some tips that normally I don't find in YouTube, and now that I have the chance, I'm going to tell you. The boxes can help you. The empty boxes can help you as your protection for the floor as you work. Every time that you finish your hardwood floors or the sections that you finish, buy a lot of the little cushion pads, the felt pads to put under your legs. That's sometimes it's common sense, but sometimes you forget about it. You're like, this thing is going to scratch the stuff, so you're putting towels anyway. If you find some squeaky noises around the floor, make sure that you take care of that stuff before you install your hardwood floors or put your padding. Now, don't use nails. Use actually screws, because if you don't use screws, this thing is gonna bounce back and forth again. And once you finish with your beautiful hardwood floor, it's gonna be hard to take care of the stuff unless you go underneath it or whatever. It's a mess. Other things, if you find these little scratches here and there, make sure that you use those pieces for the ends, so you can actually trim and cut them. Normally, what you gotta use is this machine. This is a pneumatic machine, floor nailer, and you can rent them on any rental places. I guess they have them. They're called pneumatic floor nailers. It's also a hammer that comes with it. It has like a rubber side and a metallic side on the other side. Different tools, little crowbars and different things. Make sure that you take all your nails out before you do all these things, staples and all that stuff's kind of tedious, but you gotta do it. And as you move on, make sure that you actually mix up the lines. Don't, try to avoid having lines really close. That's sometimes just for the cosmetic part of it. Structurally, it's not, if you don't have like 5 of them, together, it's not gonna cause you any problems, but you want to make sure that they are just mixed up, small ones, big ones, whatever. And, if you're a little more curious, whatever you have, like the bigger entrances, try to maintain the nice color ones, not sun them. This is like a premium finish, so it's beautiful material, but yet sometimes you find little nuts, so you want to maybe use those for the closets, or that's just natural wood, and what you're gonna do with it. Unless you buy cheap engineered floor that is gonna paint a picture of wood, you can probably avoid that stuff, but this is natural stuff, the real thing. And that's it. So you move on with these materials. I'm going to make again another video clip showing you how you nail this thing, and make sure that you use a nice compound saw, maybe a table saw. So you need some decent tools to put this thing together. It's not just like a simple little thing. You need to put some intention. Anybody can do it. If I'm able to do it, I learned it from somebody. I'm teaching you how to do it. So I'll show you how to do it in a second. Okay. As the final chapter of this tutorial, I wanna give you some little suggestions. The first one is that when you start getting into the corners, don't get frustrated because those machines are not gonna be able, the regular pneumatic floor nailer is not gonna be able to get too close. Now they make other machines that are for like this angle approaches or whatever. I've been trying to like get some of them, not successfully, and I don't think somebody's gonna rent them that easy. I mean, if you don't find them, you can't imagine somebody renting them. But here's the thing: when you get closer, at least to the last ones, for instance, if you're able to just to get to this section, start nailing with a regular pneumatic nailer on the angle, just by hand, broom, 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 maintain a wood chisel, push it up, and just bang the wood chisel a little bit on the side, push it, and then just nail it in an angle. Now, when you get to the point, to the last two, in this case, that you can't do that stuff, what you're gonna try to work with the little knots or the little decolorations of the wood, so you can disguise it later around with a little bit of wood putty. And obviously, when you get to the end, you're gonna nail at the edges, but always leave a little space so the wood can contract and expand, as they naturally do. Other things is always like I'm showing over here. This piece of furniture was moving on top of the cardboard. Actually, we lifted up and put it on top of the cardboard. By use again the little felt things, the floors obviously they're delicate. I mean, they can be scratched pretty easy. But with good care, I mean, you can have these floors just looking like this for many, many years. Just make sure that whenever you put your furniture back again, like your chairs and all that stuff, you have some cushions on those things, otherwise you're gonna pay the price. What else can I tell you? Just, I mean, for cleaning of this thing, they sell different type of products that are available. Using a nice, sometimes like a warm, damp cloth is good to clean these things with. And just enjoy them. I mean, they will be a really good upgrade for your house. A nice value to the house. You can refinish these things many years against any other engineer, blah 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 that they make over there. So I hope this tutorial helped you for your wood flooring project. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will be showing you more and more stuff that I'm able to do and that I hope that I can teach you. All right, thank you so much.